say no, that each one of us has to do every day. 3 things that we need to do every day to ensure that we can manifest what we want.
Well, I think the thing you have to do every day is study. But Earl Nightingale put it very well. He said, like, it doesn't matter whether you ever finish this book. It doesn't matter whether you ever finish it. What matters is, do you understand and apply what you've read? Now, I've taken books. Like, I have favorite books. Well, I'll take a paragraph, and I may study that paragraph for a month. And he said something one day. He said, like, Earl Nightingale was a mentor of mine. I took a cut from earning a lot of money. I was earning a few $100,000 a year, and I took a job for $18,000. And 5 years later, I was earning 33. So I obviously didn't go there to earn money. I was prepared to pay them to let me work there, and I really was. I really wanted to work with them. And so I worked with Earl and Lloyd Conant and Earl Nightingale for 5 years. It was a phenomenal education. My goodness, you couldn't buy what I got there. And Earl said something. He said, mentally try to get your mind into the space the author's mind was in when they wrote this. You may never do that, but you can work at letting your mind go there. What did he really mean? What does she really mean by this? There's some phenomenal authors. And there's great books that were written light on years ago. I think it was Hubbard said, people that have been dead for a couple of thousand years can have a greater impact in your life than somebody that's alive today, and it's true. You know, so I think that's one thing. You want to study, but you've got to also get in the habit of executing what you're studying. It's not uncommon for people in this business that I'm in just to want to study all the time. That's all they do is study, study, study. Well, I think Einstein put it well. I think our purpose here is to serve man. I think our man's purpose is to serve man. Well, to do that, you're going to have to get out and execute. You're going to have to act. And so we want to understand, try and understand what they're saying. That is one thing everybody do. I have another little ritual that I do. I'll think of what I'm grateful for. If everybody did this every morning, just write down 10 things you're grateful for. And discipline yourself to do it. Do it for a long enough period of time, maybe a month or so, where it'll really make a difference and it'll change what's going on. Gratitude, the Science of Getting Rich, which was the foundation for Rhonda Byrne's secret, Waddles, it's right on the first page of the 7th chapter. He said, the entire process of mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word, gratitude. Now, you don't necessarily have to remember what I just said, but try and remember this. If you're ever upset about anything, sit down and think of what you're grateful for. Just like that, it switches the mind. Gratitude hooks you up to your source of supply. It's so the things you maybe should do, I might not necessarily do. Your personality and mine is quite different. So you might want to get into doing something that I wouldn't get into, and I might get into something you wouldn't get into. Because we're different personalities, so we'll do different things. But there are a couple of basics, like the studying. See, I never read a book until I was 26. I didn't even read a comic book. I did nothing. And now, I can't get enough books. I have my library at home. I've got about 3,000 books on the shelves in my little office, and I put a table in the center. Earl Nightingale one time says, if you surround your mind with greatness, some of it might rub off. So I've got myself sitting in the middle of all these books that I've read, and I love it. But I think you have to decide, what are 3 things that would move me where I want to go every day? And studying should be one of them.
2.
Well, the gratitude one,
3.
And the third one, it could be something different each day. But you want to get the 3 things that are good for you. Like, I went into the Prudential of America. This was the largest insurance company in the world. Okay? I got the people to be like this, skin to skin, in front of a real live prospect before 9 a.m. Okay? That was one thing. The other, they had to ask everybody they met to purchase a minimum of $100,000 worth of insurance. They didn't have to sell them, but they had to ask them to buy. The sales in that company went up by hundreds of millions of dollars. It was absolutely incredible what happened. They were selling more $100,000 policies in every office than they were in a week than they were previously selling in a year, because nobody was asking them to buy. Now, this was about 30 years ago. I just got them to do two things different. Just two. They were all going to their office. They would be in their office by 9 a.m. They'd be talking to other insurance agents, and they'd stay there until noon, then they'd probably go to lunch with another agent. I said, you're spending half the day with the most important part of the day. Doctors operate early in the morning because the patient's most receptive and their mind is sharp, their hand is steady. I said, that's when you should be selling. And if you're on commissioning, you're not in front of a live prospect, you're unemployed. You know, so like that. So a couple of things are very important, but I think the three things for you might be different than they are for me. But the one, study, gratitude. Right? They're two that I do all the time.
Okay.